and we will immediately convene our regular board meeting of the Del Mar College District Board of Regents at 1:05 p.m. On Tuesday, September 13th. I'm going to call roll to establish our quorum. Dr. Villarreal. Here. Dr. Turner.
Here.
Ms. Averett. Here. Mr. Garza. Here. Mr. Bennett.
Here.
I know that Dr. Adami is here. He will be joining us in just a moment. I'm Carol Scott. We have a quorum and can conduct business. Would you please join me in a moment of silence? Thank you. Dr. Turner, would you lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry about catching you off guard there. That's okay. Please join me in reading the Del Mar College Vision Statement. Del Mar College will be the premier choice for life-changing educational opportunities provided by responsive, innovative faculty and staff who empower students to improve local and global communities. Del Mar College is streaming our live audio and video from the official Board of Regents meetings on the college's website in real time, with the exception of portions of the meeting considered as closed session by statute. We have the opportunity for public comment for things not on the agenda. Do we have anyone present today for general public comment? Seeing none, we will move immediately into our recognitions, and we will start hearing from Tammy McDonald to recognize our Corpus Christi 40 Under 40 awardees.
Thank you, Chair. Before I get started, I would like to ask them to come up and join me. Jason, Newman, Sarah, Letitia, and Kelsey. Thank you. It is my honor to present the following recognitions for several of our employees. The young business professionals of the Coastal Bend organization created the Corpus Christi Under 40 recognition to not only recognize outstanding Corpus Christi citizens, but also those that have a betterment for the community. The CCU 40 is an event that honors accomplishments of those who are under 40 years of age who have made significant contributions to their professional fields, as well as through service in the community. Each year, individuals are awarded this recognition through a nomination and scoring process. The college is very proud to recognize the following employees as CCU 40 honorees. So from class of 2020, Jason Houlihan and Newman Wong. Jason. Mm-hmm. Class of 2021, Sarah King. Yeah. And current class of 2022, Letitia Wilson and Kelsey Chopelas. So we always want to recognize our employees, especially those that we have such outstanding employees here at the college for their service to the college, but this group also provides such a great benefit and asset to the community with the community work that they also do. So we're very proud of them, and it's my honor to recognize them today.
Congratulations to each of you. Congratulations. I don't know if we're more envious of the award or the fact that you're under 40. Thank you all very much. You are a credit to Del Mar College. We appreciate you being here today. All right, we'll move on to our student success report and ask Ms. Patricia Benavides Dominguez to please talk to us about our Retention Services Academic Recovery Program.
Thank you. Do y'all do it or I do it? Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Regents, Dr. Escamilla. We know that student retention is a campus-wide issue, and all departments play a role. We consistently work to find ways to remove barriers to student success. When developing retention initiatives, we look at how our students are academically and socially integrated into our campus community. Retention strategies we create focus on academic interventions and a sense of belonging. Today, we'll be highlighting one of the successful efforts of our Retention Services Department. On this slide, you will see the Retention Services Department assists students in a variety of ways by working with students individually and making referrals to appropriate community resources. Through the Retention Alert Program, faculty submits referrals to retention case managers. I'm on the wrong slide, right? Yeah. There. Retention case managers upon recognizing students in need of academic, social, and personal support. Taking a holistic approach to student success, case managers connect with students and faculty to determine the needs and ensure access to resources that will remove barriers to academic success. Academic support is provided through, but not limited to, learning centers, tutoring, accommodations based on ability, the Technology Resource Center within the Student Success Center. Social support is offered through, but not limited to, clubs, organizations, volunteer and leadership opportunities through the Student Leadership and Campus Life. Various personnel and other support is provided through the Career Development Office, mental health counseling, the Viking Food Pantry, and connect with many community resources. In the Academic Recovery Program, case managers meet individually with students with less than 2.0 GPA or who are on academic probation and suspension. Our managers are working diligently one-on-one with these students to help them not only obtain good scholastic standing, but to also help them qualify for financial aid, scholarships, and other programs that we have. This slide shows the data comparisons from the Student Retention Services Department Academy Recovery Program for the 2020, 2021, and 21-22 academic years. The program is in place for Del Mar students who have either earned less than 12 credit hours at Del Mar College and have a cumulative GPA of below 2.0. Come to Del Mar on academic suspension from another institution. That places them on automatic academic suspension at Del Mar College. The retention office sets annual target goals of 35% of the students obtaining good scholastic standing and 60% of the students increasing their cumulative GPA. As you can see, the Retention Services Offices has met those target goals with the increase from one year to the next, 35 to 41% of the students obtaining good scholastic standing and 61 to 67% of students increasing their cumulative GPA. The other data on the screen shows the percentage of the students who have either decreased their cumulative GPA or made no changes in their cum GPA. And as you can see, those percentages are low and continue to lessen from one academic year. Also, you can see that the percentage of students who made no change in their cum GPAs went from 20% in 2020-2021 to 18%, showing no change in their cum GPA. During the 2020-21 academic year, 79% of the students met or worked with the retention case managers via ARP registered for classes the following semester. During the 21-22 academic year, 78% of the students that met or worked with the retention case managers registered for the following semester. To conclude, intentional efforts of the retention case managers continue to play a critical role in student persistence at Del Mar by helping struggling students get back on track and integrate themselves as active, integral members of the campus. We have a campus-wide commitment to student success, and retention services work collaboratively with academic and social student support departments on improving student retention. Campus resources and partnerships with the community agencies provide strong holistic support to all retention service efforts. As we move through COVID-19 and return to standard practices, we are delighted to report that DMC students in the academic recovery program are improving their educational goals and obtaining good scholastic standing or increasing their cum GPA. Any questions?
I do have a question. Dr. Turner, go first.
Sure. So these numbers for students in their programs, do you have any data on math and English?
We do not have numbers for math and English. Cheryl, do you know if we can get any, or we can get back to you? Okay.
My question is, in practicality, what does the faculty-driven early warning system look like? Is that data that is pushed to them? What does that look like?
So it's through our colleague system. We have the retention alert program set up in there where faculty or staff can go in and input. Jane Doe is missing assignments. Jane Doe is tardy for class constantly, or having personal issues, housing, food insecurity, whatever it is, and that's pushed to our retention case managers, and they then reach out to the faculty, reach out to the student, and begin wraparound services depending on what the issue is.
So it is based on the strength of the relationship between the student and that faculty or instructor.
Yes.
And that faculty or instructor's observation and conversation about what's happening. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I applaud our faculty and instructors for that work. That is obviously in addition to their instruction, but that is what makes a good teacher, is when you are paying attention and engaging with your students in that way. So my compliments to our faculty for doing that, because that's fabulous work.
Is that optional, or is that kind of a procedure that Del Mar has in place? I feel like this is really low.
It's a process that we have in place. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, Patricia. We'll move on to our college president's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be brief. Just a couple of topics, and we've already broached the first one, and that is the statistical profile for 21 and 22 is at your locations, and I know Mr. Bennett said he's already received his, and so those are important data points and information, data sets, endpoints of information that really, really guide us and support our trajectory here at the college. That being said, today's conversation and our workshop earlier today really does tell me there's going to be a challenge in the way that looks in the future, in the not too distant future, with all the work that's going on with community college finance and so forth. But it's a valuable reference for evaluating our programs and operations and generally answering frequent questions. Please feel free to peruse it in your leisurely reading time. Also, just a quick update on Oso Creek campus. Lots going on there, and I spend, if I'm not out of town, I'm spending time there on a regular basis, different times of the day too. And so I just want to talk a little bit about the activity there to kind of give you a general idea of what's going on. First of all, we're not done with construction. There's still a ways to go. We should be done here in coming weeks. I would say now we can measure it by weeks here this fall semester. But I want you all to know that, yes, we did start on June 11th with the first very, very restricted course offerings. And then on August 29th, we really began opening up more offerings there. That being said, I want you all to know that there's still very restricted offerings right there because of lots of different reasons. First of all, the buildings are not complete entirely. The campus is not complete entirely. But nevertheless, enrollments-wise, number of unique classroom sections, and there's some, and I'll clarify here, The last report was 2,189 enrollments. And what's interesting about that I'd like to talk about is that of that, we typically say, when I saw that number first, and this is all still preliminary data, I want to qualify this, but with 2,189 enrollments, we would typically say that, each student takes on average part-time 2 classes. So simple math would say, okay, even if you hedge your bets and everything else, you'd say 900 students maybe, okay, 1,000 taking 2 classes with simple math. Well, that's not the case. We have 400 students there. So we don't have it all clear yet, but what we do understand, because we're clarifying and we're building this bridge as we cross it with our ERP and all these other things. But what I want everybody to know is that the nature of the students, our theory, or I should say our hypothesis right now, is that the nature of our students are taking more classes. And FTEs, we could derive more FTEs with these enrollments than we even anticipated. So we're learning a lot about the enrollment going on there. And we continue to enroll for the second 8 weeks, which begins, October 24th? Yep, October. You told me once. I remembered that. I remember what Patricia tells me. So October 24th is the second 8 weeks. We continue to make strides in this area. And we're learning a lot about the students there. That being said, if you are interested in going by and looking at things and observing, I'm going to say feel free, because it's a matter of convenience, or call me and I'll meet you there, because I do spend, quite a bit of time there. And with that being said, with all these, with the enrollments and the head count that are going on there, that is going on there, this is with restricted offerings still. So great activity. It's really neat to see those students coming and going, and all the professors and staff members just going at it over there at the Oso Creek campus, excuse me. And so great things. That concludes my report. I just wanted to kind of share that with you, and I'm done with that.
Any questions for Dr. Escamilla? Thank you. We are going to have our annual discussion and report on write-offs of our accounts receivables. For those of you, this may be the first time you've done this. Mr. Garcia gets to come to us once a year and report this to us. It's not an action item, but take it away.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. In accordance with our College Write-Off and Default Board Policy, B4.20, delinquent accounts are written off after the college has made multiple collection attempts. In the spirit of transparency, we are reporting on the college's 2022 student receivable write-offs valued $287,122. Mr. John Johnson will provide further details on this year's write-offs.
Good afternoon. Always good news when we're talking about bad debts. Okay. Each year, the college write-off accounts that have become delinquent by 2 years after all collection efforts have been exhausted. While these accounts are written off, a hold is placed on the student record, preventing them from re-enrolling or receiving transcripts until the balance is paid. These accounts were fully allowanced and charged to bad debt in the year they occurred. Looking at the screen, if you look at the screen, this year the amount written off for remaining balances from year 2019 was $271,771, or 0.93% of total tuition and fees. Of this amount, $196,758, or 72.4%, is from federally mandated Return to Title IV program. Under this mandated program, the college is required to return funds to the Department of Education for students who were awarded federal grant funds, not loans, when they withdrew from their classes before completing 60% of the semester made adjustments to their schedule, or do not pass their classes. Because these are grants, students are not anticipating having to pay back these amounts, and therefore collection becomes difficult. The other significant portion of write-offs is from the installment loan program mandated by the state. All students are eligible to receive these. This year, the amount is $55,965, or 24.59% of total write-offs. Under the loan program, students are required to pay 50% of their tuition up front, with the remainder in 2 installments during the semester. In some instances, when a student drops their classes before an installment is due, they leave, and collection from then becomes difficult. These 2 mandated programs represent 92.99% of the total amount written off, or $252,000. The remaining 7% of write-offs are due to a number of different reasons. As indicated before, write-offs for the current year represent less than 1% of total tuition and fees collected. This is considered excellent when compared to other institutions. This concludes my report. Unless you have any specific questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Do you have any questions for Mr. Johnson? Thank you very much, sir. Again, this does not require action. It's a report to the board. Our next staff report, Dr. John DeHalcom is going to talk to us about deactivating some selected programs from the College of Business Administration, Entrepreneurship, Architecture, Aviation, and Automotive departments. Dr. Halcom.
Thank you. Trying to get to the next slide. It's taking a bit. Okay, Madam Chair, Regents, Dr. Escamilla, our faculty chairs and deans continually review our programs in their areas through program review, advisory meetings, and annual inspections for continued need or demand. Today, I'm keeping you up to date on program areas that have determined the need to deactivate selected programs this past academic year through an established process here at the college. After identification of the need to deactivate due to perhaps declining enrollment or majors or change in workforce needs, the department chairperson submits the request on appropriate forms to the academic dean and the curriculum committee. A presentation is made by the department to the curriculum committee. The curriculum committee, comprised of faculty members from each of our 16 academic departments, makes the determination to approve, and then it is sent to my office for final approval. First, we have a deactivation of 3 awards from the Business Administration and Entrepreneur Department. Production and Logistics Management Specialization, the AAS, Management, Logistics, and Supply Chain Management, Level 1 Certificate, Supply Chain Management, Occupational Skills Award. There are other areas where students will migrate to. Let me go back a moment. This is a little buggy today, this computer. So in the 2021 to 2022 year, there were 2 declared majors in the certificate program, 3 declared majors in the AAS, 1 graduate in spring 2021. So you can see the enrollments were very low, the number of majors were very low. So the faculty chair dean recommended to deactivate due to this declining enrollment and graduation rates. No full-time faculty are affected by deactivation of this program. Next steps, and I'll be repeating that for the other deactivations, we have to notify SAC, COC, coordinating board, and we take out all references to the programs, the awards, AAS certificate, OSA, from the catalogs and Del Mar College publications. Now, if you're worried about those students, those few that we still had, they can migrate to many of the other programs, such as the AAS in management, the Level 1 Certificate in Business Management Leadership, the Level 1 Certificate in Business Management, or the OSA in Management Supervision. And of course, if they choose, they could go to another program or major as well. Next, from the Program of Architecture, Automotive, and Aviation Department, they've chosen to deactivate the Carpentry AAS Level 1 Certificate, Level 2, and the Occupational Skills Award. Now, there is a demand for carpentry, but we found the demand is in continuing education. And I just spoke to Dr. Rivera a few minutes ago, and he was talking about how robust the carpentry is in the continuing education area. And so they tried the AAS, the Level 1, 2, and the OSA. There were 0 majors, 0 graduates, but the students are needing it in the CE, the continuing education area. And I know there was discussion earlier about students in high school, and yes, they are taking carpentry through CE in the high schools as well. So students are still going to get carpentry. It's going to be on the continuing education side. That's where the demand is. Once again, we notify SACs. We take this out of our publications, and we're migrating students interested in carpentry to continuing education or the Associate of Applied Science in Construction Management. So we have a plan for any students that do express that interest. Then last, deactivation from the same department, from the Professional Electronics, Avionics, Electronics Technology Specialty, the AAS, and also the Tech 2 Level 2 certificate. They are maintaining a Level 1 certificate, so they'll still offer that. And they, once again, had 0 majors in those areas, 0 graduates. So once again, the faculty chair dean recommended for deactivation because of little or no enrollment. Now, it doesn't affect the faculty in that program. They can teach in some of the other areas. And the students can migrate to airframe technology programs. They could do aviation maintenance, airframe applied technology, the AAS, the Level 2, or the OSA. So we've got the students covered if they do have interest. So we're doing our due diligence by evaluating our programs, seeing what the workforce demand is, and also, our enrollments, the number of majors. So we try to tighten that ship a little bit. Are there any questions that you may have?
Questions
I do have one question.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
We had 0 graduates since the inception of one of those programs in 2019.
Yes, in carpentry, yes.
No, it looked like the avionics.
That's the report that I had, yes, that it was 0. That's what was given to me, yes.
So I wonder why we implemented that program.
I do have Dean Merrill here. Dean Merrill, could you address that, please?
Initially, I think the program was thought to be more of a repair type situation with the avionic equipment. One of the things that has hurt the program, or actually killed the program, is a lot of this equipment now has plug and play ability. So with that, if anyone were to work on that other than the factory, it would void the warranty. And we're talking about a minimum of $10,000 up to several $100,000 in equipment that goes into these aircraft. And we went through the advisory committee, looked at options from a local needs. We didn't have any. There is one tech in this area, and he's not even full-time, because the demand is to return it back to the manufacturer to keep the warranty and the certification on it. So initially, I think prior to 19, we were still looking at repairing the older technology in the aircraft, because a lot of these aircraft are old. But now it's just it's gone so far ahead that it's better off to send it back to the manufacturer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you.
One
Any
other
other questions?
One other question as it relates to CE. I'm going to ask Dr. Rivetta to come and talk about the numbers and the participation of what's been going on with CE Carpentry. It's a move. Remember, a lot of this came about after Hurricane Harvey. Well, Leonard, you're the expert.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about the evolution and where we are today, basically post Harvey.
Sure. Well, one thing, and good afternoon, everyone. The carpentry movement really took flight after Mary McQueen and the foundation received the Rebuild Texas grant. And from that point on, after Hurricane Harvey, that was to rebuild the devastation that Hurricane Harvey left us with. And that was run through CE. And so that was really the foundation of how the start of the movement towards carpentry in the CE realm started. And so at this point, it grew from that grant that the foundation secured for the college to now we're in probably about 10 to 12 high schools offering CE carpentry, which includes not only carpentry, but plumbing and house wiring, electrical. And we're also moving towards other types of things such as masonry and roofing, as well as our traditional open enrollment type of programs that are offered at our Windward campus. And so now we've converted what is the nutrition building at the Windward campus into really our state-of-the-art carpentry center, our academy at the Windward campus. And so we've grown from the Rebuild Texas time, which we served hundreds of folks in the coastal bend, to where now we're serving hundreds of folks under the auspices of our CE carpentry program, which again includes plumbing, electrical, house wiring, cabinets, just a number of different types of unique skill trades that are really needed in today's environment with respect to the construction that is going on here in South Texas. Any questions that I might be able to entertain?
I have one question.
Yes.
On those programs that are being deactivated and the students that are currently enrolled, are they going to lose any of their credits? Will all their classes apply to their new certifications that they're being funneled into?
They should not lose any credits because there's also teach-out plans. There's a 3-year period where we have to do a teach-out, so they should not lose any credits. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Halcomb. And,
excuse me, I've got additional questions.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Doctor, I guess I applaud your efforts in activating and deactivating programs when they're no longer used or don't have the enrollment that you initially intended to have. I think transitioning from an academic program to continuing education in carpentry, I think certainly makes sense. I'm a little concerned, and only because I came from a purchasing and logistics background. Your logistics and your supply chain management curriculum. I know that when I was involved in that particular profession, I belonged to a National Association of Purchasing Managers, and when I first got back in 2000, we still had a local chapter of the NAPM. I'm just wondering if there's any benefit to actually getting a survey from them, telling us what exactly has transpired in reducing the number of people that might be either involved or interested in logistics or supply chain management.
I believe
classes.
they may have done that survey, Dean Schrammick. I believe your area. I hope you don't mind me asking the deans to come up. They're specialists in the area. Could you address that?
Good afternoon. So when we were entertaining this after the enrollment began to dwindle, we looked back at the history of how the program was created. It was originally created kind of to serve CCAD's needs. Okay. And so that was one of the consultations that we did, was go back to CCAD and see what was happening with them, and then more generally what was happening over the area. And what we found out was that they were hiring more of the bachelor's level with supply chain and logistics. And so for our students with the associate's degree and just the certificates, it wasn't quite enough to get them where they needed to be. Right. So we were advising students to go into our transfer program and then transfer into a university that had that specialization of the logistics or supply chain.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
We very much appreciate you having the detailed answers and folks at the ready. So thank you, Dr. Halcomb.
Appreciate it.
All right. Our pending business list is next item on our agenda. You'll see that there are a number of things happening in October. There will be a HERF update, obviously quarterly financial and investment reports, HERF update, our annual tax abatement review. We have the Corpus Christi Regional Economic Development Corporation come and do an annual review of where we sit with different tax abatements, report on the Clery Act, internal audit report, and other things. So a number of things happening in October. And then in November, we'll have a discussion on the coordinating board strategic plan, and probably a kind of a final wrap-up report from the commission on what the final recommendations are, and then next spring what the legislature actually does with those recommendations. There's a number of steps in the what the commission work has been doing. So maybe potentially, Dr. Escamilla, we could add that to the November agenda as well. And then foundation update and other things happening in December, including the oath of office for our newly elected regents, one of whom is a guest in the audience today. Welcome, Mr. Cruel. Happy to see you here. And so that will be happening in December as well. Any questions on our pending business list? If not, we'll move on to our consent agenda. We have for us today consideration of the consent agenda, approval of various minutes from our previous meetings, as well as an acceptance of investment and financial reports from August and July respectively. Are there respectively? Are there any items that need to be pulled for separate consideration? Seeing none, is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Dr. Villarreal. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Garza. Any discussion? Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed, same sign. That motion passes unanimously. On our regular agenda today, we do have discussion and possible action related to the approval of a certificate of unopposed candidates and the order to cancel our November 2022 Board of Regents general election. Ms. McDonald.
Thank you, Chair. On August the 9th, the Del Mar College Board of Regents approved the order to call the 2022 Board of Regents general election. Election packets were made available from July the 25th to August the 22nd for any interested party to file for placement on the official ballot. Applications were received and verified by Ms. Jessica Alanis, our election administrator, who is also here today if we have any questions for her. The following candidates have applied for each district position. District 2, David Loeb. District 5, Carl Krull. And at-large, Libby Averitt. No other applications or write-in declarations were received. The Texas Election Code does allow a political subdivision to cancel an election if each candidate is unopposed in all single-member and at-large district races. In the packet, you did find a certification of unopposed candidates for Del Mar College Board of Regents general election for the November 8th, 2022. It's being presented today, and it has been certified by Jessica Alanis, our election administrator, which states the above candidates are unopposed for office and for us to declare such candidates as elected. Upon declaring the candidates elected, the Board of Regents must begin steps to cancel the general election. Candidates that have been declared elected may not take office until after the canvassing date, which is tentatively scheduled for November the 18th. So you will find in your packet a certificate of unopposed candidates, which Ms. Alanis has certified, and you also do have a order of cancellation of the Del Mar College District Board of Regents general election November 8th. This only has to do or is related to the candidate positions for the ballot. So it's the regent candidates only is
So
the election that we're talking about.
The annexation election for the Robstown consideration is still going forward.
It's totally separate, yes, ma'am.
Correct.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to recuse myself from this vote, please.
Thank you. Certainly understand that. Are there any questions for Ms. McDonald or for Ms. Alanis? If not, there is a recommendation that we take action to approve the certification of unopposed candidates and the order of cancellation for our 2022 Board of Regents general election. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Adami. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Garza. Any discussion on that item? Is there any public comment on this item? If not, then all those in favor of the motion as presented, please raise your hand. All opposed, same sign. So that motion passes with one abstention. Thank you very much, Mr. McDonald and Ms. Alanis. Next, we will have discussion and possible action related to the TERS number 5 appointment. And Mr. Rivera is going to make that presentation.
Madam Chair, briefly, as you all know, you elect to participate in TERS zones, or the tax increment reinvestment zones, and as part of that participation, you are allowed a representative on the board. We're talking about the tax increment reinvestment zone number 5. Regent Libby Averitt has been serving as the college's representative on that board. Her current term expires on October 12, 2022. She has confirmed her willingness to continue to represent the college and help out, and so it would be our recommendation that you will all vote to reappoint her for another term on that board.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to that effect? Thank you, Mr. Garza. Is there a second? Second by Dr. Turner to reappoint Ms. Libby Averitt as our representative on the TERS number 5 board. Any questions? Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed, same sign. That motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Averitt, for your willingness to continue to serve in that regard.
Thank you.
We will do this as TERS appointments come up for renewal, so they all have a different start date, so we'll keep those going as they come forward. Next, we will have a discussion and possible action on a award from our request for proposals 2022-09, custodial services. Mr. Strybos is passing out some handouts. Thank you.
Thank you, Regents. This is agenda item number 6, discussion and possible action on the award of request for proposals, RFP 2002-09 for custodial services. So, Physical Facilities has worked with the business office. We've advertised competitively, and this is a competitive seal proposal. Did everyone get one?
Did you get one, Dr. Villarreal? Okay, we're good. We're good. Sorry, I just want to make sure everybody had one.
Okay. All right. This is a competitive seal proposal or qualifications-based proposal. We have the categories: the contractor work experience, it's worth 10 points, the staffing plan and policy, 25 points, operations plan and policy, 25 points, and the price, 40 points, for a total of 100 points. The evaluation committee considered personnel from both physical facilities as well as the academic departments, who are our core users and give us the most feedback on our custodial services. We had 9 different respondents. These were all ranked, and the recommended award is to ABM Industries. That's an annual price of $1,454,634.72, and that's their base bid. That there are other after-hour services that are paid for by the departments on an as-needed basis. And so this is a 2-year contract with options for 3 one-year renewals. They're evaluated at the end of that 2-year period, so it is not automatic renewals. And this is funded through the Physical Facilities annual operating budget.
Are there any questions for Mr. Strybos on this item? If not, then there is a staff recommendation to award the contract to ABM Industry Groups, LLC, in the amount of $1.4 million for year 1, ending September 30th, 2023. Is there a motion to that effect? Thank you, Mr. Garza. Is there a second? Second by Dr. Turner. Again, any other questions? Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed, same sign. That motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Strybos. And action item number 7, discussion and action regarding 2016 Oso Creek Campus Construction Project Change Order number 11.
This change order is for several items at the Oso Creek campus, and we continue to make progress on this. We're on track, where in January, all the buildings, the full campus will be open. This change order has several items. This is audio and visual for the STEM building, and these were never in the contractor's scope of work, so this is added to their scope of work. The contractor will provide the equipment, install the equipment. It's only for the STEM building. It's for $2,300,000, and that's going to be funded through the project authorized plant funds. We have extended general conditions that getting the project complete has taken a significant amount of time, longer than originally planned. That amount is $486,500. The contractor's been paying utility bills for Del Mar while we've been in these buildings, and so it's reimbursed them for $83,146. And then we have miscellaneous electrical work and additional scope of work for a total of $55,000. That overall total is $2,924,646. And the other balance is paid for with the bond proceeds. And I've worked with finance to confirm these available amounts in these accounts.
Thank you, Mr. Strybus.
Sorry.
Are there questions regarding this item? I have a question regarding the STEM audiovisual. So the 2.3, is that the total budget for that item, or are there additional expenditures for AV?
There are additional expenditures for the campus for AV, for Maine and culinary arts, and so we're working on getting the quotes for those, and those will be installed by Del Mar. So I'm working with our IT department on getting those quotes and getting those. Funding is going to be a challenge. There is some additional funds remaining in the plant funds, and so we are prioritizing what the campus has to have and how we can fund these remaining purchases.
And the 2.3 is within budget for these items for the STEM building?
Yes, it is.
Any other questions or comments?
How much money is still left from the 2016 bond?
Even after this, we've got probably about another $400,000, and we have a few other change orders, and that's why we split these up. We've got some other items still in process, and every day that the users are in there, they identify items that they have to have. These are not wish lists. It's like something has to be there, and so we work with them about what needs to be done and how to do it. So we do have another pending change order, so that's what we're keeping that money in reserve to cover those final change orders.
Almost gone, though.
Any other questions for Mr. Strybos? Staff is recommending adoption of change order number 11 as presented. Is there a motion to that effect? Thank you. Ms. Averett, second. Second by Dr. Turner. Actually, Dr. Villarreal hasn't seconded anything yet, so she's going to get to second that motion. There we go. Any questions? Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor of adoption of change order number 11 as presented, please raise your hand. Any opposed, same sign. That motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Strybos. The board has previously gone into closed session, so we don't have anything additional that we need to do in that regard. We do have an opportunity to look at our upcoming calendar. Our board day in October will be on October 11th, and then for those attending the ACCT Congress will be held in New York at the end of October. Our board day in November is on the 8th. We've identified a couple of regions who would be available to canvass votes on November 18th. Yes, sir.
The board day on November 8th, location is to be determined. It is election day, and this room we're offering to the county for elections, and so we will most likely be set up at the new community room at the Oso Creek campus, and we're working on that. So same time, same logistics that way, it's other than location. Stay tuned, we'll confirm that next 48 hours or less.
Great.
That'll be for the November election. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And then our board date in December 13th, we will have a farewell to our two outgoing members of the Board of Regents, and we will have the oath of office for our incoming board members. And you see coordinating board, leadership conference, fall graduation, et cetera. And we will not have a January board meeting. For those who do want to potentially attend Community College Day in Austin, the legislative session will have convened by then, and the Texas Association of Community Colleges and the Community College Association of Texas Trustees will be hosting a joint Community College Day in January, and Delia will be sending out information for that as it becomes available. Any questions on our upcoming calendar? If not, we have a record time. The board meeting is adjourned at 1:55 p.m.